So Ferrari actually had a really good race in Austria. And when I say really good, I mean really good considering the kind of standards they've been setting this year, which haven't been great. Big upgrade, big jump in performance, but that's not what people are talking about. No, instead what they're talking about is a bit of a tussle between the drivers wherein Carlos Sainz said the exact words that he was made to look like a fool thanks to team orders not being applied.
I mean, this is not the first time that Carlos has been left frustrated, absolutely frustrated by the team management. Because remember, what race was that? Where he literally broke down and he said, "Don't do this to me, Oh, that was the penalty.
Yeah. And to be fair, I understand being frustrated at Ferrari's team management. They don't make the right strategy calls. They'll make a good car that will either A, blow up or B, eat into its tires.
Yeah.
In the worst case, both. And see, truth be told, they don't seem to have learned from a lot of their mistakes. But was this one of those cases where it's really a case of A, the pot calling the kettle black, or throwing stones when you live in glass houses? Because first off, team orders in Formula 1, it's nothing new.
Yeah, and it always happens. Someone or the other is going to be disappointed with what they've been told.
Yeah.
But with Carlos, he thought, to give a little context, he thought that he had a lot of pace at Austria, and he wanted to, go ahead of Leclerc.
His teammate, yeah.
But then the team management put Leclerc in front of him and would not let him, switch positions, which is something Carlos was not happy with, and which resulted in Carlos.
And to be fair, Ferrari have come out very clearly and said it didn't really matter who was finishing where. And I understand that, because they weren't really, if you're going to be in the fight for a podium position, then it's better to let the drivers just stay where they were at that point in time, rather than risk them a race and potentially, let's say, lose out on that podium. And again, really, this is the first weekend where these upgrades were there. It was pretty evident that Leclerc was faster through the weekend. So I think it was fair that Ferrari brought or let him stay out. But again, it's nothing new. When I say it's nothing new, I mean, and you can chime in on this, but Formula 1 is that one rare sport where you have drivers competing for personal glory within a team. So there's always going to be that dichotomy.
No, I think I disagree a little bit, because a lot has to happen behind the scenes as well for someone to come out and say this at a press conference. Because we know what Ferrari management has looked like in the past, what Ferrari strategies have looked like in the past. And this is not just something that's happening right now. This has been happening for 4 years.
Longer than that.
Longer than that, right? And Carlos has been here for 3 now.
Yeah.
So this is something, and he's the number 2 driver.
Unofficially so, but yes.
Unofficially, yes, because Charles has been put, in a position where
he's the favored driver.
Yeah, he's a priority for Ferrari, and Carlos Sainz's frustration wasn't too. I don't think it was, what's that word?
Unreasonable.
Unreasonable, because look at what happened at McLaren as well. When you look at Carlos's journey, McLaren, he was treated as a number 2 driver as well, because Lando was the young,
the young upstart.
Charismatic Lando Norris, and he was right now as well. He was put in front of Danny Rick as well. Exactly. So I understand where Carlos Sainz is coming from, because that chap has been through a lot. Okay, and then being put in for him or his career is frustrating. And at a point, I don't know. See, the thing is, it could be anything that breaks you down, right? That was Carlos's breaking point. Was it the right point? That could be debated, because switching positions is never in front, in the driver's hands. It's always the team principal or the team strategist who decides who goes in front of whom.
Exactly.
So I understand where he's coming from, but then again, not everything goes your way.
Yeah, and actually in the case of Sainz, why it was, I'm saying, why it is we're asking if it's hypocritical, because last year, and this is, let me remind you, a year when Ferrari were actually competing for the title, and Leclerc was the clear favorite to actually challenge Verstappen. They were bafflingly a number of times where Ferrari didn't apply team orders to let Leclerc through, and Sainz was the beneficiary. Again, I think best example, Silverstone 2022, when Sainz ended up winning that race, he was in front and the team had actually given him an order saying, look, let Leclerc through. And he said that, look, my pace is not there right now, but it will get better. And he refused the team order point blank and said no team orders, I'm staying in front, and he won the race. Another instance last year, Brazil, and by this point the title had gone.
But see, in that point, in that race as well, Carlos was asked, to be behind Charles.
Yeah.
But he was already in a position where he could win the, not win the race, but cross the line.
No, he was in a position to win the race, and not just that. No, but again, that second title is winning more often than not. Other teammate, rather, you'll ask them to move aside because it's just common sense.
It happened a lot with Bottas and Hamilton as well.
It's happened with every driver who's been a number 2 for any team.
Look at George.
Yeah, but George hasn't ever been asked to be.
That's true, because they expect a lot out.
Not just that. In fact, the one time when he and Hamilton were racing for a win, just Brazil of last year incident.
They let them race.
Yes, they let them race. They said, no, you guys can race, it's fine. But this was also a different situation. Here they knew it was just about letting one of the teammates win. The title was gone. There was nothing they were competing for except one race win. With Ferrari last year, they were in the fight, and still there were times when Leclerc was not the beneficiary of team orders, which I'm sorry is a foolish way to run things, because or needs points to win the title, and you're telling Perez no, stay ahead of him. Never happening.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. So with Sainz.
What? Hamilton?
So what happens there is that more often than not the precedence.
That's true.
Last year Ferrari didn't do it, and I criticized them for it. Not just me, a lot of. It actually made no sense for them to use the team orders. I was like, it wasn't necessary. There's no need. Here you're competing for nothing. At this point, you're not competing for a title. You're competing at best, finishing second or third in the Constructors' Championship.
That's true. I mean, that's reasonable. That's a valid point. But then you've also got to think about what you're doing to Carlos's
confidence
career. I mean, what other prospects will he have after driving a Ferrari that does? That is not the Ferrari that is
this
right
Ferrari
now.
right now. See, I don't know. I think he's there for the long term. I don't think they disregard him. But I think this is sort of a situation where he'll have to become, if he ever wants to compete for the title, he'll have to do what Rosberg did in 2016, which is go
smash into.
That
was Lewis. Sorry,
it was Lewis who smashed. And what I meant was he has to kind of channel and get to that mode where I'm like, you know what? I know I'm probably not the favorite driver, but I'll make myself the favorite driver.
That's true.
I don't think crying about team orders is going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening.
I think the team principal also came out and said a few things, right?
He did say that there was.
What did he say?
He basically said that there was no, we don't look foolish at all. And foolish.
Yeah,
imagine.
I mean, if Charles is already in contention for the drivers, the advantage.
Exactly, which is what they didn't do last year, by the way, in Brazil.
Yeah.
Because Carlos was in front of Charles, and at that point, Charles was 6 points behind Perez in the race for second. And what Leclerc said very clearly, he was like, please let me through. They said no. I'm like, why are they not letting him through? Do you not want second spot? I get it. First spot is out of your contention, but if you can have one driver finish high, go for it. They just didn't do it.
And in this case, I think, what's the principal's name?
Fred Vasseur.
The not Binotto.
The not Binotto.
The not Binotto said that it was too risky at that point to kind of have them switch positions, which was the main reason that they gave on why Carlos was not let. They didn't let Carlos through.
Exactly. Team orders again, if Sainz had to be way ahead of where Leclerc was, and he was being held back, I'd be. The fact that in previous instances, Sainz has benefited from team orders either not being applied or he himself refusing it. I was just like, oh, you shouldn't have probably been saying that. It just made no sense for you to be No, I think there is definitely a little bit of friction though.
Yeah.
Especially, and God forbid if this car becomes more competitive, I think you're going to see that friction spill over, which of
Yes.
course always makes for, let's say,
A
interesting
more
viewing.
entertaining F1 season.
Yes, always. Who doesn't like teammate drama? Yeah. So let's see if this teammate drama really spills out. Of course, a big race coming up. 2022, as we mentioned, at Silverstone. It was the Ferraris who won this time around.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be in contention for a victory. Maybe a podium spot though. Who really knows? So we'll see you then later on. And of course, if you enjoy our Formula One coverage, you have to let us know. But to do that, please don't forget like, share, subscribe, tap the bell, and also don't forget
To download the AajTak app.
also follow us across social media. But right now, from Gargi and me, it's goodbye.